So family, before you participate in an Easter egg hunt tomorrow, you need to watch this video and then send it to your pastor. Tag him in it. All right. So I'm about to explain the origin of the Easter bunny and Easter eggs. So let's hop into it. See what I did there? So check it out. The Easter bunny first pops up into history in the 1600s. Yes, it was actually that late, in a book by a guy named George Frank von Frankno. All right, who recorded a custom in Alsace, which is modern day France or Germany. And the tradition, it was a hare that brought colored eggs for good children. Now, let's pause right there because here's a fun fact. Hares and rabbits are not the same thing. Hares are bigger, they have longer ears, and are built for speed. Think of them like the sprinters of the bunny world. So rabbits, on the other hand, they are smaller, they're more social, and they tend to chill in burrows instead of going full Spain Usain Bolt through the countryside. So we're already deep into Christianized Europe, not ancient pagan temples, but post-Reformation Germany. All right. This bunny was hopping through the culture hundreds of years after Jesus rose from the dead. Later, the bunny made it to the Americas in the 1700s, thanks to the Pennsylvania Dutch, who called it the Oosterhaas. And yes, it started with hares, not rabbits. So the bottom line is that the bunny came from folklore, not fertility cults. So hares are known for being prolific. They get it in, you know what I'm saying? But that doesn't make them pagan. It just makes them rabbits. In early spring, hares are active, visible, and they're boxing in fields. It's a mating ritual or mating season behavior. Rural Christians would see them as a natural sign that Easter was near, not because of fertility goddesses, but because spring had sprung. All right. They didn't have calendars to tell them when spring was. They noticed spring was coming because they saw hares in the field in mating behavior. Even secular scholars like Stephen Winnick from the Library of Congress say plainly, it would be simpler and more accurate to say that these connections arise from common observations about eggs, rabbits, and hares. The association is based in everyday lived experience, not religion. So these symbols of springtime can attach themselves to any spring holiday, no matter its religious import. In short, we don't need a pagan fertility goddess to connect bunnies and eggs. With Easter, springtime makes the connection for us all by itself. There were also other Easter animals in early folklore, foxes, geese, and even storks, but nobody's saying that Easter goose was a pagan idol, so why target the Easter bunny? All right, so I know you're probably saying, okay, well, we get the hare, we get the rabbit, but the eggs are pagan though, right? No. Eggs have been linked to Easter for centuries, not because of any pagan ritual or pagan goddess, but it's Lent logic. In the early church, Christians fasted from meat, dairy, and eggs during Lent. So by the time Easter came around, they had a surplus of eggs. So what did they do? They decorated them, shared them, and ate them to celebrate the resurrection. Think of it like this. You got chickens still laying eggs during Lent, right? You can't eat the eggs yet, but you can boil them, save them, and when Easter comes, you feast. So by the 13th century, decorated Easter eggs were a tradition in parts of Europe. In the Orthodox Church, they were painted red to symbolize the blood of Christ. In Western Europe, eggs were dyed, rolled, and hidden to symbolize the stone rolled away from the tomb and the joy of discovering the empty tomb. So yes, eggs became a resurrection symbol, not a pagan relic. This stuff sounds foreign to us because our parents, our pastors, and our churches never taught us the history behind Easter egg hunts and Easter eggs and bunnies. And I'm not here to blame them for that. This stuff has been written about in books for centuries. But prior to the invention of the internet, who had the resources to go and look this stuff up? We just follow tradition. But you and I have the power to change tradition and disciple ourselves and disciple our children to understand the meaning behind these practices. The problem is some folks see rabbits and eggs and they think fertility goddesses, and they immediately jump to paganism. But let's use some common sense. Spring represents new life. Rabbits represent new life. Eggs represent new life. These are natural symbols of rebirth and renewal. That doesn't make them pagan. It just makes them a perfect illustration for the resurrection of Jesus, who brings eternal life. The church didn't steal these symbols from pagans. Christians redeemed nature's cues to celebrate the supernatural event of Christ rising from the dead. It's not a cultural compromise. It's a Christ-centered conversion of meaning. It's giving spiritual substance to springtime signs. Signs which, by the way, were created by God. So, no, there's no ancient fertility goddess handing out chocolate bunnies. There's no conspiracy involving eggs and idols. It's just folklore, fasting traditions, and a celebration of new life that points to the greatest victory in history, the empty tomb. So family, we've shown you in video 1 the history of Easter. We've shown you in video 2 that Easter doesn't come from Ishtar. In video 3, we talked about Easter not coming from Yostra or Ostara. And in this one, we tackled Easter eggs and Easter bunnies. Last night, I went live on Facebook and YouTube explaining how we get 3 days and 3 nights from Friday to Sunday. If y'all have any questions, genuine questions, by all means, hit me up, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to help you out with that. I love y'all. God bless, and He is risen.